Hey everyone, What If Fan here, bringing you another exciting part of What If Karmic Gacha system in Modern Family World. You can find the fanfic title and the original author's name on my Patreon page. Make sure to check it out and show them some love. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell so you never miss an upload. Also check out my Patreon channel for early releases of all the series, where you can find all the series released one day ahead of YouTube. Alright, let's jump into it. Chapter 416, Regaining Money. Edward POV. Taylor came back after spending Thanksgiving with her family, arriving almost at the same time as me. Edward, we need to talk, she said seriously, her face clouded with anxiety. Okay. I hesitated for a moment, then decided to go to my room with her for privacy. Haley, Ness, Selena, Wella, and Barbara were curious, but they didn't attempt to eavesdrop. Once the door clicked shut behind us, Taylor slicked her hair back and perched on my bed, radiating a manic energy. Hey! I know we said there are no rules during the lockdown, right? She asked cautiously. The others said that. Not me, I replied, sitting beside her. Although I go along with it. What's going on? Taylor swallowed and said, Well, my dad and I got into it over Thanksgiving. He said I shouldn't have done this, and he's disappointed in you too. He said you didn't keep your word. Her words hit harder than I expected. I remembered the talk I had with Taylor's dad when she joined my entertainment agency. I promised to take care of her and never hurt her. So he wants me to go back. Taylor continued, her eyes searching mine for validation. He just doesn't understand the new generation, right? Taylor's commentary. That's not actually what my dad said. Taylor added, a small, satisfied smirk tugging at her lips. My dad said Edward didn't keep his word, and that's a good thing. He went above and beyond helping my daughter's career. I have no problem with Edward at all. But I'm trying to guilt-trip him a little, just to have some leverage. She admitted gleefully. Commentary ends. I studied Taylor's questioning gaze, feeling a prick in my chest. Patting her hair gently, I asked warmly, Do you want to stay, or do you want to go back? Her eyes widened at the question. Taylor's commentary. Taylor scowled, thinking aloud. How hard is it to just say, I want to stay? Then I'd hold all the leverage. If he tries to control me, it'd make me look desperate. She paused, then sighed with realization. Well, I am the desperate one. Commentary ends. I want to stay. At least until the lockdown's over. I don't want to be alone, she admitted, hugging me softly against her chest. I smiled. Okay. Until then, I'll take care of you the best I can. Except you're going back to work tomorrow, she teased with a grin. I'll take care of you in the 2 hours a day we can be together, I joked. And those 2 hours need to be divided among 6 girls, she said mock stern. Nah, Wella, Barbara, and Selena only want the physical stuff. They don't care about the relationship part, I replied casually, which clearly irked Taylor. Annie has the biggest advantage. She's going to spend 16 hours a day with you on set, Taylor muttered, pouting. Yeah, but she can't screw me in front of the camera, I joked dismissively. Well, she can, but everyone else will try to stop her, Taylor added, then widened her eyes, gasping slightly as she thought of the next joke. Or worse. Join her. I laughed together with Taylor and, after some time, we rejoined the others. We didn't eat again for Thanksgiving since it was already midnight, so I just went to sleep after playing with the girls for a while. Although I went to sleep alone, I woke up to 2 girls sleeping on my left arm, and 2 more sleeping on my right arm. Barbara, Selena, Taylor, and Ness were sleeping with me. Wella and Haley lost the rock-paper-scissors game they used to decide positions last night. Hey, Edward. I have an idea, Haley said before I could go to work. What is it? I asked while wearing my shirt. You know how there's a lot of hit pieces about you lately. Do you want to turn them into satire? Like a hit piece-style documentary about the articles. I laughed slightly, amused at the idea, and said, "Sure. We'll do that when I get back." "Great." Haley smiled widely. "Just to be clear, this is our thing, not an everyone's thing," she added. I was slightly taken aback but still replied, "Oh. All right. We'll do it with just us." Haley made me do a pinky promise on it. Haley's commentary. "Taylor? Yeah, I definitely know what she's doing," she said with a dissatisfied expression. "But I also wish I thought about that first." Cuts scene to Haley, Selena, and Ness watching Edward pamper Taylor on the couch from afar. Haley added, "That bitch wants to play, so let's play." Commentary ends. General POV. Entertain company building. "What's the profit from merchandising pre-sales?" a sales manager asked. "We have 250 million Evolve or Die t-shirts pre-ordered. Same with mugs, tote bags, and umbrellas," the sales team leader reported. "The profit alone would reach $2 billion, he added, shaking slightly, disappointed in himself. The manager sighed. "It's still not enough. It's already selling well, considering the show's only been on air for 3 weeks. Another chimed in, unsatisfied. "We're not talking about company profit," the manager said jokingly, trying to ease the tension. "It's the profit for our Messiah." "I don't think he's low on money," a skeptical employee said. "If he was, why would he push his singles out for free on the Pandemic album? You've only worked here a month. You don't know him yet," the manager explained. "Mr. Newgate doesn't care about huge profits unless they can be used to help others." Misunderstandings were brewing among the 15,000 employees under Edward's empire. The sales manager glanced at the designs on the shirts. A Chickenosaurus Rex chasing a squad member. "I should buy one for my kid," he muttered. Merchandise was distributed efficiently thanks to Han's suborbital rocket delivery system. Orders from the US would arrive in Australia by the afternoon, even the newest ones, though sheer volume meant the exact delivery dates were staggered. They would arrive within a week. Another big problem arose when Edward had built up the distribution line. Amazon wanted him gone from the shareholder seat. He had bought up around 10% of the company, so Jeff Bezos was offering him a lot of money for his shares. However, the shares were only at $70.22 per unit, and Owen knew it would grow to $200 plus in just a decade. Selling now would cost him around $2 billion in potential revenue. "Sell it. Let's compete with Amazon for the e-commerce line," Owen agreed, opening an e-commerce company after selling his Amazon stocks for around $700 million. Jeff wanted to eliminate potential shareholder influence, especially since Edward was someone with a strong moral code. Instead, he turned a friend into a very strong competitor. The gaming company released multiple expansions for LOL and Mythic Quest, which earned Edward a huge profit from sales. However, in all Edward's branches of income, pharmaceuticals were bringing him a hefty sum from selling medicines and medical supplies. Robin decided to release another phone model after the lockdown so the electronics branch wouldn't fall behind. Maybe even earning more than pharmaceuticals. Edward's T-Bot was selling like hotcakes even at $15,000 each. He also offered a payment plan for the elderly and disabled, and the cumulative profit from T-Bot sales alone had reached over $500 million. In Cuba, the new factory, Harmony Tech, was already built by Robin and Sato, providing jobs for over 40,000 Cubans. In return, Sato supplied rare earth minerals at a lower cost for Edward's electronics. "Can't you open up the portal permanently?" Robin asked one of Edward's duplicates as she walked over to Cuba from LA. The duplicate shrugged. "I could, but it would mess with the fabric of reality, so I prefer not to do that." With the portals, the company could easily grow their distribution line. On the surface, it looked like they were using the suborbital rocket, but secretly, products were delivered via portals. The second music video for the Pandemic song dropped to the public 6 days ago. The music video already had 500 million views, and numerous comments under the post. It also made a lot of speculation arose from the media about Edward's relationship with a certain girl, The music video started with Edward sitting on the couch in his house. Taylor came from behind and closed his eyes, asking, "Guess who? Really? You didn't even bother to change your voice." Edward replied jokingly. Lily, the fan club president, played the second Pandemic song and wore headphones as she listened. The soft melody carried the melancholic feeling of the entire song. JP Sachs' If the World Was Ending, official video, foot Julia Michaels. Edward sang with a melodic voice.
I was distracted and in traffic. I didn't feel it when the
Pandemic
happened, but it really got me thinking. Were you out drinking? Were you in the living room chilling, watching television? It's been a year now. Think I figured out how to let you go and let communication die out.
Taylor giggled as Edward tickled her, and they suddenly locked eyes.
I know, we know you weren't down for forever, and it's fine.
Their lips inches closer with each other, until it met.
I know, we know we weren't meant for each other, and it's fine.
As they moved away, they locked eyes again and giggled.
But if the world was ending, you'd come over, right? You'd come over and you'd stay the night.
Then, the scene turned into Edward sitting on the couch alone. Its dreamy filter turned into a harsh blue tint, showing the mood change.
Would you love me for the hell of it? All our fears would be irrelevant.
Taylor was sitting in another house, holding her phone and seemed to trying to make a decision whether or not to call.
If the world was ending, you'd come over, right? The sky'd be falling and I'd hold you tight. And there wouldn't be a reason why we would even have to say goodbye.
Edward sang alone, facing the camera.
If the world was ending, you'd come over, right? Right?
He sang again, as if asking for confirmation.
If the world was ending, you would come over, right? Right.
Taylor began singing after Edward. Her voice carried strong emotions.
I tried to imagine your reaction. It didn't scare me when the
Pandemic
happened, but it really got me thinking. The night we went drinking, stumbled in the house and didn't make it past the kitchen.
The scene turned dreamy again, as if reenacting the past. Edward and Taylor feeding each other fruits, and playing by the pool together.
Oh, it's been a year now. Think I figured out how to think about you without it ripping my heart out.
Edward joined her in the song. A harmonious duet followed.
And I know, we know you weren't down for forever, and it's fine. I know, we know we weren't meant for each other, and it's fine.
The screen split into two. Edward and Taylor were facing the opposite direction while they sang.
But if the world was ending, you come over, right? You come over and you stay the night. Would you love me for the hell of it? All our fears would be irrelevant.
Finally, one of them decided to text the other.
If the world was ending, you come over, right? Sky be falling while I hold you tight. No, there wouldn't be a reason why we would even have to say goodbye.
Edward broke the lockdown restriction as he drove to her house.
If the world was ending, you come over, right? You come over, right? You come over, you come over, you come over, right?
The song invoked strong emotions to the listeners, especially those who had suffered through a breakup. Lily, Cam, Mitch, Phil, and even Alex cried as they listened to the song. Edward and Taylor's harmony was mesmerizing that it already had 1 billion streams on Spotify. Edward sang alone while he was in the car.
I know, we know you went down for forever, and it's fine. I know, we know we weren't meant for each other, and it's fine.
Taylor and Edward finally met each other again, both with the stress of the pandemic evident on their faces. Edward looked a little haggard, Taylor looked a little disheveled. The music paused for a few seconds, just to let them stare into each other. Then they harmonized again.
But if the world was ending, you'd come over, right? You'd come over and you'd stay the night. Would you love me for the hell of it? All our fears would be irrelevant.
The tailor and Edward's shippers were crying as they saw the honest expression between the two people. Taylor and Edward sat in front of each other cross-legged, talking awkwardly as they stared into each other.
If the world was ending, you come over, right? The sky be falling while I hold you tight. No, there wouldn't be a reason why we would even have to say goodbye.
Finally, they hugged each other and Taylor began to cry.
If the world was ending, you come over, right? You come over, you come over, you come over, right? If the world was ending, you come over, right?
As the outro played, almost all of Edward's diehard fans were crying. The song hits hard in the lockdown, especially since we were alone a lot. Alex muttered as she called Enid. Enid asked her, "So, did Phineas pop into your mind when you heard the song?" "Surprisingly, no," Alex replied casually. Enid was taken aback. "Wait. Surprisingly. You wouldn't use surprisingly to describe it, unless... Sto, Enid. No." Alex was flabbergasted when Enid saw through her. "You bitch." Enid cursed at Alex. "It's not what you think. I actually thought of you." Alex replied nervously. "What?" Enid was weirded out and asked in a high-pitched voice. "All of my friends. Not only you." Alex replied hurriedly. "Oh." Enid exclaimed flatly. Alex finally breathed in relief. Canvas Studio said, Edward. Mrs. Johansson is here to see you." Annie informed me with a nervous expression. I replied before drinking my coffee. "Just let her come in." Should I remove everyone from your trailer, to make sure no one can eavesdrop?" "Do." Annie went to the window and pulled down the blinds. "Should we give you some privacy?" I scrunched my face and said, "We're not going to screw Annie. I asked her to come talk about her movie." "Oh. Right." Annie blushed and then ran away hurriedly. A minute later, the voluptuous actress entered my trailer. "This reminds me of my earlier acting days," she said with a grin as she sat on my bed. "You slept in the trailer a lot?" I asked. "No, I slept with other actors in the trailer a lot," she replied. I paused for a bit, and then stared at her. She laughed, and changed the topic. "So, are you here to tell me my movie's cursed?" "Well, it might seem that way, since it's had trouble since the beginning of production," I said as I took out the newly revised script. "I talked with Feige, and we're going to upgrade your character a bit. Honestly, Feige doesn't care about what I do at this point, so this is just me." "I see." She took the script from me and asked, "We're keeping Mr. Immortal in?" "Yeah, but we're adding Madam Hydra since the plot is going to continue in Captain America, the Winter Soldier. And also, I'm going to be very busy with this show. So I'm going to let someone else become my co-director." "Huh? Who?" She was confused. Then, someone knocked on the trailer door. "Come in," I told him. A tall man in his early 30s, with a sculpted jawline, a muscular body, and a handsome face, entered the trailer. "Hello? My name is Kristen Forger." The man introduced himself to Scarlett, who stood up to shake hands with him. Scarlett widened her eyes slightly at the sight of the man. The way he carried himself was attractive to her. It was actually my duplicate in disguise. I needed him to be able to shoot both projects at once. "We're going to alternate filming days for the Canvas Studio schedule, and Mr. Forger will help me when I can't be there on shooting days, especially at real-life location settings." Scarlett asked warily. "Sorry to ask this, but what are his qualifications? Do you have a filmography with you? What are some things you've done?" I already expected that, so Kristen replied. I do have a film I've finished, however, the distribution was postponed since the lockdown happened. Would you like to see it? Sorry to be difficult, but this project means a lot to me, Scarlett said apologetically to the director. I was called to the set, so I left them to talk while they watched the film I had made in a hurry a few days ago. Oh, you actually worked with Eddie? Scarlett was surprised when she saw I was the main character of the film. It was a psychological action movie, full of gunfights and hand-to-hand combat. It was very stylistic, like the John Wick movie. Scarlett thought it was too bad the movie was bought by Netflix instead of going to theaters. It was something I just cooked up anyway, so I didn't have many distribution plans for it. Jenna was also in the movie as the seductive card dealer. Gene was the bad guy, but he fought under a mask so no one knew the identity of the antagonist. It wasn't something blockbuster level. I had the idea of turning the casino game I played with the Afterlife Bunny before into an action movie, where the poker game's aftermath would affect the outcome of the story. If I won, I could take someone's life, not literally, but his identity, his family, wife and all else, basically turning into him. It was a deeply psychological story, shot in the way of the 90s movies were shot, with creative lighting and riveting dialogue exchange. Scarlett had wide eyes as she watched the entire movie. By the time she finished it, she was already confident in Kristen's help with the production of her movie. The movie did blow up on the Netflix rank after it was posted. It received a lot of good reviews from critics and a solid 8.3 on IMDb. When my duplicate dissipated after Scarlett left, I was a bit confused as I saw her asking the director about his background. She asked whether he was married or had a child, what he did before he became a director, whether his family is still alive, does he have a good relationship with his parents, and more. Is this a blind date or a business meeting? But again, I guess it was my fault for making him look really handsome. In my defense, he wasn't really at my level in terms of looks. Chapter 417, Hit Piece. Edward POV. So what are we going to do today? I asked Haley as I came home from work. She grinned and pulled up a clip on her laptop. It was an attack ad, one community college mocking another, claiming their rival's degree was worthless because they'd once given a diploma to a dog. I frowned. Isn't this the same gag they'll use in Community? That's not supposed to come out until 2015. So this is the prototype, huh? I'm thinking something like this, Haley explained. Narrator freeze frames, a couple of harsh talking points. We can do a bunch of them. Oh. Did you write some down already? I asked. Was I supposed to? She said slowly. You didn't? She shook her head, smiling nervously. I sighed. Fine. I get the gist. We'll improvise. Perfect. Haley perked up. I've got ideas for a longer skit for YouTube and a short one for Instagram. All right. I'll take a shower first. From the bathroom, I could hear everything. Haley had lined up the girls and was already barking orders like a drill sergeant. Although I don't want to share my time with him, I'll need 3 people for the roles. Ideally men, but since there's only Edward, you'll have to do. I'm a professional actress, Wella said. So I think I deserve one of the spots. Stand up straight, Haley snapped. Willa immediately straightened, hands behind her back. I'll decide if you're good enough, maggot. Do you understand? Yes, sir. Willa answered without hesitation. Maggot? I muttered under the running water. Haley turned to Barbara. Chest out. Too slutty. Go change if you want to roll. But I'm barely showing. Now, maggot. Haley barked. Barbara left to change. Haley put on sunglasses and paced in front of the line. You each have 15 seconds to convince me you deserve the role. What role? Selena asked. Disqualified. Haley snapped. Selena blinked in disbelief, but Taylor tried instead. Well, I'm the most famous. Out. Too famous. Same goes for you, Ness. And you, Selena. So the choices are Barbara and Wella? Selena said flatly. Then why did you even call us here? Just to rub it in. Haley grinned. Ness laughed. Selena and Taylor just frowned. Taylor muttered, If they screw up, we're stepping in. Barbara raised her hand timidly. I've never acted before. It's fine. You don't need to be Meryl Streep for a 1-minute Instagram skit, Haley said. By the time I came out in gray sweatpants and a black tank top, the room was buzzing. The girls squealed the moment they saw me. Whore, Haley scolded. Put on something normal. I don't want people thirsting over you in my comment section. Copy that. I turned around quickly and went to change again. I put on a white shirt and jeans next, finally earning Haley's approval. Who should be the narrator? I think they need to have a deep or comforting voice. Wyla was interrupted by Taylor, who said, This is a hit piece. So they need a deep voice. I'll do it and change how my voice sounds using AI. Ness said. All of us agreed with her suggestion. What's the first idea? Barbara asked Haley excitedly. The first idea was based on a tabloid article about my relationship, or rather, the lack of it. It was written in the early days, before I even admitted I had one. First hit piece. I told you, I'm not giving you my number. That's a violation of my privacy. I snapped at Barbara and Wella as they pretended to approach me at a party. Freeze frame. My angry face filled the screen. I wore nerdy glasses, had side-parted hair, suspenders, a bow tie, and short pants, making me look like the perfect caricature of a nerd. Narrator, this is Edward Newgate, a Silicon Valley billionaire with a huge dream. The scene changed, showing me coding in my room. Then Barbara and Wyla opened the door, each wearing only a towel wrapped around her body. Edward, we're going to sunbathe by the pool. European style, Wyla said with a grin. Barbara added, Can you rub oil on our bodies while we lie on our backs? I turned to them, snapping. I told you not to bother me. There are 2 of you. Rub the oil on each other's bodies. I slammed the door. Cut to commentary. I sat facing the camera. My dad always told me, Son, women are a distraction, and you should never let them get in the way of our collective dream. I'm not just working on this project for myself, I'm working on behalf of all mankind. I paused, letting the last word land ambiguously. Barbara faced the camera next. He has a 225 IQ. But he's so dumb he kept missing our hints. The footage showed Barbara trying to get Edward to take off her bra, but he ignored her and opened his laptop instead. Narrator. We asked Edward about his end goal. What is he working toward? What is he doing instead of just laying pipes to the girls who are clearly into him? I mean, man. Just look at those girls. Back to the scene. We're leaving, Wyla told Edward as he worked on his laptop. Her face was twisted in anger and desperation, almost on the verge of tears. Unless you tell us you love us right now. Drive well, I called out, closing the door in their faces. They looked stunned. The shot cut to me gazing affectionately at a blushing emoticon on my computer screen. I faced the camera one last time. One of these days, I'm going to fuck my laptop. The short hit piece ended abruptly. Haley flashed the tabloid article it was based on. Edward Newgate caught building a sex doll? A large shipment of skin-mimicking silicone was delivered to his house. End video. Haley giggled at the end product. She turned to Barbara. You seem rather awkward, but it's fine. I'm not an actor. I'm just a very pretty girl, Barbara said with a baby voice while moving towards me. I ignored her and said to Haley, Are you going to post it now? Then I turned to Willa. Do you have the okay from your agency? I don't want them to get mad at you. That's completely unnecessary. They are going to be really glad I did that, Wyla said with firm confidence. Barbara poked my arm, wanting some attention while we were discussing. In the end, I pulled her into my embrace, which caused her to get dirty looks from the others. I'm going to post it after we finish the YouTube skit, That will take some time, I guess. Maybe 1 or 2 days, since Edward only has a little time each day. Yeah, Edward is the problem. Wella teased. I rolled my eyes and said, I'm already filming episode 10, and only the 4th episode is on the air right now. Then I'm going to take 3 weeks off for Christmas and New Year's Eve. Then, we can spend the last days of the lockdown together before going back to normal, I added. The girls were all stunned by my words. I didn't know what I expected from them, but this wasn't it. We ended the filming that day, and Barbara asked me a personal question as I was going to sleep. She entered my room and laid down beside me, asking, Edward, do you think I'm a good actress? Based on your 7-second screen time in an Instagram skit? I have no idea, I replied. Why don't you try to act something out? I'll see if you have any skills, I said, slightly interested. She grinned and stood back up, getting ready to act. She fixed her hair into a ponytail and said desperately, The Queen is going to kill me. She heaved her chest and added, She's going to rip out my heart. Huh? What's this from? I was confused. Barbara blinked slowly and said, Kristen Stewart from Snow White and the Huntsman. You're picking an acting scene, yet you pick Kristen Stewart? I muttered with disbelief. She smiled and said giddily, Yeah. So? I love that movie. Oh boy. I don't know, you might have some acting skills, I said dismissively. If you can act like you love that movie. Barbara was annoyed and pounced at me. It is a good movie. Hugging my arm, she said childishly. Also, I just watched it today, so I can only remember that. Ah, that made more sense now. I chortled and then kissed her cheek. Do you want to be an actress? I asked. She thought about it and said, I do. But I'm not going to do it with connection. Like if I'm going to act, I want to go through the auditions. That's admirable. But honestly, sweetheart, no one in Hollywood really gets their start without any connections. I wondered if I should copy and paste my acting skills or acting talent to Barbara. That way, she would immediately become an Oscar-level actress. Edward, what's wrong? She asked. What do you mean? I was confused. Well, usually your hand will be down my pants by now when you hold me like this, but we're not even kissing yet. I paused for a few seconds before hugging her tightly and said, Come here. Duplicate Edward, Kristen Forger. Since I had an actual identity, I bought a place in Fairfax County and officially immigrated to America from France. Kristen Forger was part of the Illuminati. On the surface, he had an impeccable reputation as the heir to a multi-billion-dollar family business. Behind the scenes, I was using his identity to funnel money into foster homes and orphanages across the world. Right now, Kristen's cash reserves were at $750 million. I spent $8 million on an English-style Tudor mansion, large enough for hosting, with its own yard, a pool, and 8 bathrooms. Huh? I got an invitation to meet a talent agency? I muttered, scrolling through my texts. After the Netflix movie came out, my name was hot in Hollywood. I don't need to sign with one. I'll be gone from Hollywood after this anyway. But it's nice to be wanted. Another call came in, Scarlett's manager. He wanted to set up a dinner meeting before filming started. I get that, I muttered. But why at a 5-star restaurant? I drove there in my classic '63 Studebaker Lark, its velvet-colored paint gleaming under the city lights. Scarlett was waiting for me alone. And when I say alone, I mean completely alone. The restaurant was cleared out for her. Lockdown rules had emptied most public spaces anyway. She wore a shoulderless dress, her short hair styled neatly. You look beautiful, Mrs. Johansson, I said politely. She laughed. Please, just call me Scarlett. All right. Call me Kristen. What did you want to discuss? I cut straight to the point. She smiled unfazed. Shouldn't we eat something first? Fair enough. I ordered the best wine and food they had. Her eyes brightened. You know wine? My family owns a winery in France, I replied casually. Oh? What else do they do? She asked, swirling her glass. Her eyes glittered with curiosity. As if you haven't already Googled me, I thought. They have a couple of small businesses, I said vaguely. That only made her more intrigued, assuming I was being modest. In truth, the family business was valued at 10 billion, and I was the sole heir. That's fine, she said smoothly. So what made you get into directing? I deflected. Better question, what made you start acting? We talked for a long while. The conversation felt less like a meeting and more like a first date. At one point I asked about her single life after the divorce. She swirled her second glass of wine and grimaced. You know how dating works in this industry? She asked. No. Enlighten me. I smiled. It's like middle school, she said. If you like someone, you tell your manager. Then your manager talks to their manager. If both sides agree, the date happens. I raised an eyebrow. And since the dating pool is so small, people keep overlapping, sometimes even with married ones. Her voice lowered on the last part. So, who's your manager? I joked. Her eyes lit up and she joked back. Who's yours? I don't have one. That's a pity, she said, disappointment in her voice, though her eyes were still flirty. We moved on to lighter topics, never touching the film itself. As we were finishing up, a sharply dressed man approached our table. Definitely not a staff member. Mrs. Scarlett Johansson, what a pleasure, he said, his smile charming. I'm a huge fan of Girl with a Pearl Earring. Though Lost in Translation is a close second. Oh, thank you, Scarlett replied politely. Then he turned to me, his expression sharpening. And you, Mr. Forger? Surely you remember me? How could I forget? Mr. Reddington. I smiled at the James Spader look-alike, showing no hint of intimidation. He chuckled, sat without invitation, and Scarlett frowned, but I gestured for her to stay calm. You see, Mr. Forger, Reddington began smoothly, I'm curious. Why would a man like you step down in life, to play at being a mere movie director? The Forger family has had some business deals with him before, so we knew each other in passing. I don't owe you explanations, do I? I countered, smirking. I could ask you the same thing. Why is the number 9 on the FBI's most wanted list sitting here right now? Scarlett's eyes widened. A flicker of fear crossed her face. I smiled at her reassuringly before answering Reddington. But if I must answer, Newgate asked me to. He asked you? Reddington blinked. He told you to make movies? We both know how persuasive the kid is, he said sarcastically. So he just asked, out of the blue, and you agreed? No. I was bored, so I wrote a script, I said casually with a sarcastic edge. Reddington guffawed, a sharp, knowing sound. Yes. A script based on real events. A sick one at that. Scarlett's eyes widened again. Even I was thrown. What? Reddington studied my face carefully, a master of reading expressions. My confusion made him pause. Don't tell me you don't realize what you've written. You've painted a target on your own back, and you don't even know it? I was making it up, I replied evenly. Based on a poker game I played with a college friend. Reddington's eyebrows shot up, then he chuckled again. Ah. Creativity can be dangerous. Seems you've stepped right into a predicament of your own making. He turned slightly to Scarlett. I think it's best if Miss Johansson heads home before we continue this discussion elsewhere. It's fine. I don't need your services, I said coolly. He paused, a flicker of surprise crossing his face. You're sure? They'll come for you, and anyone you care about, to make sure this doesn't happen again. I smiled. Lucky for me, I don't have any loved ones. And anyway, they can't really hurt me. Scarlett bit her lip at my cockiness, and Raymond looked flabbergasted. He wasn't used to losing control so quickly. Reddington's method was simple. Offer help, then hold it over someone's head until the day comes to collect. He had no friends, only connections. I had no interest in being part of that. I was here to make movies, not to play his game. Scarlett had driven herself, but I offered her a ride home since she was tipsy. She accepted. On the way, she asked, "So, is it like Eyes Wide Shut?" I understood immediately. The controversy surrounding Kubrick's final film revolved around censorship, studio interference, and rumors of elite exposure. Officially, the edits secured an R rating. Unofficially, some whispered that incriminating footage was removed, and that Kubrick's death wasn't entirely natural. I don't think so. Or maybe there is something, I said. Edward Newgate doesn't do censorship, and he doesn't care about the elites. So maybe he ruffled some feathers putting this on Netflix. Scarlett frowned. I'll text him, let him know what's happening. Oh, I think he already knows, I joked. She blinked, then sighed. Well, if Eddie's got your back, you don't need anyone else. You really trust him, huh? I asked. She smiled softly. Eddie's a good friend of mine. I guess he's a good friend of yours too. A little bit, I said ambiguously. When we arrived, she leaned in and kissed me on the cheek. Thanks for the ride. I can't wait to start working together. Me too. Back at my Tudor mansion, the front door had been pried open. I sighed and walked inside calmly. In the living room, multiple figures wearing golden masquerade-style masks awaited me. Squid Game reference. What in Batman's Court of Owls shit is this? I muttered. Have a seat, Mr. Forger, they said threateningly. Nah. Get the fuck out of my house, I said casually. They held rifles and guns at me. I smirked and said, Is that supposed to be intimidating? Only if you care about your life. The leader said with a deep voice. Really? Then, shoot. I sat in front of them casually. They were taken aback at first. The leader threatened again. This isn't a game, Mr. Forger. I don't care. Shoot your rifle, or get out of my house. I have nothing to talk with you guys about, I said firmly. Pity, the leader said before he opened fire. But as the bullet flew, it crashed into a translucent shield, my chakra shield I had opened. They were startled and began to fire everything at me. The loud sound of the gunfire reverberated around the entire mansion. Unfortunately for them, the bullets didn't even get near me. As their bullets were depleted, they looked at me with horror. I smirked at them and said, Are you done? Now it's my turn. Chapter 418, The Day the Illusion Lifted. Edward POV. Some people reached out to me for collaboration, but I rejected them and told them what they were planning was a bad idea. However, they ignored me and went through with it. Taylor muttered with disbelief as she watched the video on her phone while we were all in the living room. Oh my fucking god. Why did they think singing Imagine during the pandemic was a good idea? On screen, Will Ferrell, Natalie Portman, Mark Ruffalo, James Marsden, Amy Adams, Kristen Wiig, Sarah Silverman, Jimmy Fallon, Jamie Dornan, Pedro Pascal, Leslie Odom Jr., Maya Rudolph, Chris O'Dowd, Cara Delevingne, Kai Gerber, and half a dozen more faces appeared in sequence, each belting out a verse from their multi-million-dollar mansions. Ashley Benson had asked me to join in, but I talked her out of it instead. Watching the fallout, I was glad I did. The backlash was instant. The video came off painfully tone-deaf at a time when people were losing jobs, businesses, and loved ones. The contrast between cramped apartments and celebrity mansions was impossible to ignore. The pandemic had already exposed how unequal the system was. The Imagine video just poured gasoline on it. Within hours, the video was a meme. Mockery spread faster than the virus. Years of carefully crafted relatability collapsed in a single clip. For decades, stars tried to sell the illusion they were just like their fans. This showed the truth, they weren't. They were insulated elites. I chuckled slightly and said, The end of celebrity culture is here. Taylor and Ness widened their eyes. Ness leaned forward. What do you mean? Taylor added. Is it really that bad? It's the worst kind of bad, I told them. Barbara, Selena, and Wella glanced over, listening closely. Not only is the celebrity era over, it's going to shift. The next era will belong to online personalities. You mean influencers? Haley cut in, curious. I shook my head. Not really. Influencers were already hated. They were really annoying. Hey! Haley was offended. I'm not talking about you, I said cheekily. Haley puffed her cheek in annoyance. I'm talking about people who still live like the audience, streamers who struggle with rent, creators making skits with no budget, folks who stay real even after getting popular. People trust that more than a millionaire celebrity pretending to care. Taylor scoffed. You're exaggerating. I shrugged. Maybe. But don't be surprised if some online girl selling risque photos to her fans makes more money than an Oscar-winning actress. I turned to Taylor and said, Don't worry, you'll still be richer than all of them. Taylor tilted her head but accepted the backhanded compliment. Good, she said with a smirk. Barbara frowned. So what about us? I haven't even had my chance to shine yet. It'll be fine, I reassured her. Just don't do something really out of touch and cringy. And more importantly, don't lose reliability. Wella raised a brow. Don't you mean relatability? No, reliability, I corrected. Relatability fades, but reliability means not betraying the trust people put in you. Think about it. 2,000 years ago, people admired Hercules for his feats. They wanted to be like him. Bring Hercules to today's era. Suddenly killing lions is a bad thing. He will get targeted by PETA. He made a small mistake, it would poison that admiration built over the years. That's how resentment grows. I leaned forward, lowering my voice. And without aspirational figures, people feel directionless. When that happens, they'll put their hope in the first con man who pretends to care about them. And that never ends well. The room fell quiet. Haley suddenly asked. If, like Monkey D. Luffy suddenly said in a chapter, he never loves eating meat. Hey! I got annoyed. I will feel betrayed, that's for sure. Haley, Ness and Taylor snickered. Who's Monkey D. Luffy? Wyla asked in confusion. Taylor, Ness and Haley widened their eyes and screamed. And oh! Too late! Will, it's time for me to introduce you to the greatest fiction in the world. What did I do? Wella was extremely flabbergasted by everyone's reaction. You've dug your own grave. Taylor tried to leave, but I grabbed her hand and pulled her into my lap. Nah, we're all going to watch it together. Starting from episode 1. Don't you have a lot of work to do? Taylor asked, slightly bashful as I held her like a princess. I'll take a day off. Selena, I saw you. Come back here. I too needed a hero to aspire to. That's why the work of fiction was important. Inside the recording studio, I set up some cameras, my laptop, and 2 seats with a microphone in front of them for the live stream. Oracle would help me control the camera angles for the show later on, just like how a live TV would work. That meant close-up, full shot, half shot, guest shot, and so on. I planned to release the 3rd song live first before dropping it online. As I started the live stream, fans poured into the chat. The video had a caption. Every donation will go to the victims of alien pox. Hello everyone. How's your lockdown going? I said casually, sitting on the chair with a guitar slung over my shoulder. Many fans complained in the chat, venting about their days. Lily, my fan club president, used the donation feature to make her text stand out. Lily, $20 Edward. How's your lockdown going? Are you still working? I replied. Well, Lily, I'm working on the Netflix series for about 19 hours a day. At the same time, I'm also working on the album. I added coyly. I have a house full of pretty girls, but I can't even be with them. That's sad, I think. The chat erupted in laughter, with some fans saying they were relieved. I have one of the girls joining me today. But before that, I'm going to sing for you guys to ease your stress a bit. Lily, $20, don't push yourself too hard. Conan, $20 you're not going to sing. Imagine. Are you? Pfft, no. I'm not. I replied to the talk show host. Conan, $100,000 we should get on a podcast together. You know what? Maybe I will, I said. The chat went wild over Conan's huge donation, and within minutes, news articles were already reporting on it, even while the live stream was still happening. Ashley Benson, $100,000 you look hot. Oh, thanks, I replied, slightly taken aback by the number. I was wearing a black tank top that showcased my muscular biceps and jeans. I had told her to donate something to help the victims and her own image, especially since she almost took part in the Imagine song. I hadn't expected her to send nearly half her current savings. Still, the gamble might pay off. Donating just to flirt with me could make her seem interesting to the public, which might land her more roles. She had plenty of money from movies and TV shows, but Ashley was also a shopaholic and not great at handling her finances. People in the chat began asking who she was. That was perfect, especially with 20 million people watching the stream. It was a massive number for a live stream, thanks to the lockdown effect. Hundreds of donations came in every second, ranging from $1 to $100. The total had already passed $2 million. Many celebrities were joining in on the donations. Bieber, $10,000. Who's your guest? I'll invite the guests midway into the show, I replied to him before speaking to the fans. By the way, I'm also going to collab with JB for the Pandemic album, so you can look forward to that. Bieber, $10,000. Beaming face with smiling eyes. Party popper. Fans went crazy over the announcement. The tweens were ecstatic, the older fans, not so much. Is there a song you'd like to request? I asked. I'm only going to sing 3, so pick carefully. I sent out a list of songs in the chat for fans to vote on. After 3 minutes, the results were in. 7 years, Thinking Out Loud, and Before You Go. Feeling nostalgic today, are we? I teased. For the next 10 minutes, I entertained my fans with the songs they requested. Then, I took a little break, drinking water and reading what they were saying in the chat. Most of them were talking about how much they missed hearing me sing live. We need a concert after the lockdown? Damn right we do. Taylor's, $10 million. I'll be sure to buy a ticket. Holy, Taylor! I turned to the girl who was sitting behind the glass, watching the live stream with everyone else. The chat froze for a bit before exploding in bewilderment. Lily, holy shit! Cam, is there no limit to the donation? Harvey, Eddie, you need to make sure not to get flagged by the IRS. It's fine, Harvey. I'm going to donate all of it anyway. Still, we need to thank Taylor for her incredible donation. I angled the camera slightly, revealing Taylor and the other girls. Taylor was caught off guard and quickly ducked behind Selena, laughing at the unexpected camera reveal. After recollecting herself, she peeked out and gave the camera a small wave. Lily, it's not fair. She gets to enjoy the concert face to face. Well, blame the one who made the alien pox virus, I said jokingly. Without further ado, I'm going to invite my guest for today, Miss Selena Gomez. Selena walked into frame, and the camera followed her with perfect timing. She had cut her hair short into soft, wavy layers that framed her face, giving her a bold, grown-up look. Large gold hoop earrings swayed as she moved, catching the light. She wore a black leather miniskirt with sheer leggings, paired with a shoulderless crop top that showed just a hint of her toned abdomen. The black shirt was tight, and she didn't wear anything underneath. Although the camera couldn't see it, I could. It was clear she was leaning hard into a more mature, sultry style. Less Disney princess, more hot Latina pop star. Hello everyone. She greeted the fans. A lot of people greeted her back and some were asking her about the kiss with me. Selena saw it, widened her eyes and laughed in bafflement. I mean, he is a good kisser. Selena replied to the question. Really? That's your second sentence after hello everyone? I looked at her with disbelief. Selena cracked up. Wait, This might look weird online without context. The fans keep asking me about the kiss on the show. Too late. They're going to clip the first one. I said, disappointed. Selena laughed, embarrassed. We really need a talk show host, huh? She said after catching her breath. I nodded and said to the chat, You hear that, Conan? Conan, I can be there in 20 minutes. It's all right, we're almost at the end. I have to get to work in 20 minutes. I told him. The fans complained that the live was too short. It had been barely half an hour. Someone asked Selena if she needed to be on set too, but she stumbled. I don't know how to say this. Maybe, let's go with maybe. She didn't want to spoil whether our characters would meet again. By the way, Selena is releasing an album on the 15th next month. I told the chat. What's the album about? I asked her. She burst into laughter and exposed me. You worked with me on the songs. Why are you acting like you don't know? I laughed, embarrassed. I'm trying to hype you. Oh right, Selena said calmly, and the abruptness made me laugh again. We talked about her album for a bit, then about our collaboration on the song. Should we play a game before the song reveal? Like every talk show has a game these days, Selena asked. What kind of game? We'll ask each other questions. The person asked has to answer honestly, no matter what, she said with a sly smirk. I hesitated. This might be dangerous for me. Let me check what people are saying. The chat was unanimous. The people have spoken, let's do it. Just to be clear, I have to be honest, and you do too, right? Yup. Selena agreed. Wait, how many times we should ask each other questions? One maybe. We don't have a lot of time. I told her. Okay. I'll go first. So, Foo, I guess I can't do that here. Kiss, marry, kill. Oh God. I groaned, lowering my head. Selena grinned. Don't worry. I'll go easy on you. All right. Shoot. The chat exploded with suggestions. Selena read 3 names. Scarlett Johansson, Emma Watson, and Alexandra Daddario. The crowd went wild. I wasn't fazed, instead I answered decisively for the first one. First of all, kill Emma Watson. Luke Dunphy, you always have beef with Hermione. Tough call between the other two, but marry Scarlett, she's my longtime crush, and kiss Alexandra. I winked at the camera. Selena laughed. Oh, so you like him big. This is a public live stream. Be careful, there are a lot of young ones here. I warned her, acting nervously. Okay, my turn, I said. Kiss, marry, kill. No, wait. She blurted, eyes widening. I didn't expect this. She read the options. Shrek, Hiccup from How to Train Your Dragon, and me. Selena blushed. Well, I already kissed you on air, so I'm going to kill you. And then, kiss Hiccup, marry Shrek. I nodded, looking straight to the camera. That's the only right answer. I changed my seat to face the piano at my back and asked Selena, Are you ready? She picked up a microphone and inhaled deeply. All right. I'm ready. I spoke directly to the camera. Selena and I are going to sing the song, We Don't Talk Anymore. Enjoy. Charlie Puth, Selena Gomez, We Don't Talk Anymore. My fingers tapped the piano keys smoothly, a soft yet exciting melody filled the room. I sang alone at first.
We don't talk anymore. We don't talk anymore. We don't talk anymore like we used to do. We don't laugh anymore. What was all of it for? Ooh, we don't talk anymore like we used to do.
Lily, is this about his breakup?
I just heard you found the one you've been looking for. I wish I would have known that wasn't me. 'Cause even after all this time I still wonder why I can't move on just the way you did so easily.
Oracle did a close-up shot to my face, and the fans melted as they saw the sight.
Don't wanna know the kind of dress you're wearing tonight. If he's holding on to you so tight, the way I did before. I overdosed. Should've known your love was a game. Now I can't get you out of my brain. Oh, it's such a shame.
Selena joined in, keeping up with the rhythm, although she was quite nervous about singing together with me. Together we harmonized.
We don't talk anymore. We don't talk anymore. We don't talk anymore like we used to do. We don't laugh anymore. What was all of it for? Oh, we don't talk anymore like we used to do.
We looked at each other while singing, which made both of us smile. Selena sang with a raspy, sweet voice.
I just hope you're lying next to somebody who knows how to love you like me. There must be a good reason that you're gone. Every now and then I think you might want me to come show up at your door, but I'm just too afraid that I'll be wrong.
Phil, this is such a catchy song. Go Selena! She sang the pre-chorus perfectly.
Don't wanna know if you're looking into her eyes, if she's holding on to you so tight, the way I did before. I overdosed. Should've known your love was a game. Now I can't get you out of my brain. Oh, it's such a shame.
Taylor munched on the muffin with annoyance as she saw we were looking at each other with affection in our eyes. I want to sing live too, she muttered. Selena and I harmonized together, producing a gentle duet that hits the listener's ears just right.
We don't talk anymore. We don't talk anymore. We don't talk anymore like we used to do. We don't laugh anymore. What was all of it for? Oh, we don't talk anymore like we used to do.
We stared into each other's eyes, as if we're lovers lamenting the breakup.
Don't wanna know kind of dress you're wearing tonight. If he's giving it to you just right, the way I did before.
Cam, that is slightly dirty.
I overdosed. Should've known your love was a game. Now I can't get you out of my brain.
Oh, it's such a shame.
The collaboration was a huge success. Selena's name became trending on social media after this. We sang the chorus again.
We don't talk anymore. We don't talk anymore. We don't talk anymore like we used to do. We don't laugh anymore. What was all of it for? Oh, we don't talk anymore like we used to do.
The melody slowed down. We stared at each other and sang line by line.
We don't talk anymore.
The way I did before.
We don't talk anymore.
Together,
Oh, it's such a shame.
We don't talk anymore.
the crowd applauded with emojis and showered us with love after the song finished. Did you like the song? I asked them. Lily, very much. Red heart. Phil, it's really good. Cam, September 5th, 10. I checked my watch and told them. Don't forget to check out the new episode of Evolve or Die tonight and check out the music video too. I have to go to film the show now, so we'll have to end this live stream here. I turned to the girl. Selena, anything you want to add? Selena said. Don't forget to check out my album when it's dropped. And give Edward a lot of well wishes since he's been working extra hard this pandemic. He never had any rest just to take care of his fans. Lily, I turned to Selena and whispered, Don't tell them that. She chuckled and said, He told me not to say that. Adios, everyone. Goodbye. Until we meet again. I also waved at them and said, Till we meet again. Chapter 419 Bloated. Edward POV. Oh. A feminine shout startled everyone in the living room. I quickly rushed to the bedroom it came from and burst into the bathroom. What happened? I asked Barbara, the one who screamed. The rest of the girls trailed close behind me. Wearing only a towel wrapped around her body, Barbara clung to me and sobbed. I've gained 2 kilos. Haley turned to Selena and whispered, How much is that in pounds? Selena shrugged. I don't know. The American-born girls couldn't understand why the European one was crying. She gained over 4 pounds, Taylor said after checking her phone. She gasped as though Barbara had just announced a terminal illness. It's normal to gain some weight during lockdown. I tried to comfort her, but the others overheard and panicked. Move! Taylor rushed away herself, then screamed when she too had gained. Selena, Haley, Ness, one after another, they all stepped on the scale. Each of them let out a shocked cry when the numbers ticked higher, even though none of them looked any different. Maybe it's muscle. It's muscle weight, right? Selena's voice trembled with hope. Taylor raised an eyebrow. When did we work out? We kinda did. With Eddie. Haley offered weakly. The girls fell silent, then turned on me with accusing eyes. You did this. Taylor jabbed a finger at me. I laughed. Wait, did all of you gain weight? Maybe it's the scale that's wrong. Their eyes widened. Yes. Selena exclaimed with relief. The scale must be broken. Ness added. Just then, Willa joined, fresh from the spa. What's wrong? She asked. Haley explained. The scale's broken. It scared Barbs. Oh. Broken? That explains it. It said I lost a pound earlier. I thought I was getting results. Willa said it casually. The room fell silent. Everyone stared at her. What? Willa asked, genuinely confused. I grabbed her hand before the mob formed. Come with me if you want to live! I shouted, dragging her out. Get her! Taylor barked. We escaped, laughing madly. I played around with the girls until it was time for me to head to work. At the canvas set, we were already shooting the 20th episode, though only 6 had aired on Netflix. 2 new actresses approached me as I entered. Both wore muted Fallout uniforms, their faces smeared with dirt to show the struggle of post-apocalyptic survival. I'd based them on Tiga and Suna, whom I missed. Lucy, a blonde 20-year-old with the fresh prettiness of a young Scarlett Johansson, held her script and stepped forward first. Mr. Newgate, I have some questions about today's scenes. Shoot, I said, sipping coffee. Jisoo, a Korean-American newcomer, stood politely beside her, waiting her turn. Lucy frowned. Why does Jamie need to surrender to the tyrant? I thought this story was about empowerment. The story's about survival, I answered flatly. Yes, but don't you think it's misogynistic to say a woman can only survive in the apocalypse if she gives up all her agency? Again. The story's about survival. This isn't California, and it doesn't reflect our current society. The tyrant is an actual villain, not some misunderstood anti-hero. Your character has to decide if losing agency is worse than the entire shelter being eaten alive. I leaned closer. And like I've said before, this show is about the needs of the many outweighing the needs of the few. Survive. 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 If you don't think survival is universal, maybe you should check your privilege. Lucy's lips parted, stunned. She looked like no one had ever told her that word in her life. I turned to Jisoo. What about you? Nothing about misogyny. I just want to know when my character finally meets yours. It's been teased for 18 episodes. 2 more, I told her with a smile. At the tyrant's camp. So they'll meet at the finale? Yes. Jisoo nodded excitedly. Lucy, still flustered, blurted out. I can relate to survival. I'm not some rich Nepo baby. My dad's a dentist. I hid a smirk. Of course she thought that was humble. A dentist in Beverly Hills probably made more than the average family saw in 5 years. I realized she wasn't even speaking for herself, she was parroting agency talking points, convinced she was a star now. She'd signed with a big agency after joining the show, and fame had gone to her head. She'd even tried flirting with me a few times, but I ignored her advances and kept things professional. It's weird how fame always gets to their heads. She was quite pleasant at the beginning. I sipped on my coffee again and returned to my trailer. I need to hire less people from California after this, I muttered. The era of social justice and virtue signaling was coming by pretty soon. I'd hate to be a part of that movement. Since Me Too already came earlier in this universe, nudged by me, the Hollywood apologists were already starting making the all-female Ghostbuster movie and more flawless girl bosses projects. I think someone was blackmailing them, holding their dirty dealings about their head. I didn't mind female lead movies, as long as it's good. I hated getting into a movie, and suddenly it turned into a lecture. There's a difference between political art and just straight-up talking down to the audience. Like the Black Widow movie in my previous life. It showed child trafficking at the beginning. That was political art. It wasn't in-your-face messaging, but showing something real that made people think about the issue. It started well, then it turned into, well, speaking off the Black Widow movie. Kristen Forger duplicate. So, what really happened back at your place that night? Scarlett asked, her voice a teasing purr as she adjusted the golden dress clinging to her curves. The gown shimmered under the ballroom chandeliers, a deep neckline daring attention, the slit along her leg cutting high with every subtle sway of her hips. We were in the middle of shooting a ballroom sequence, where Natasha Romanoff infiltrates a Russian diplomat's party to uncover whispers of a black market weapons deal. I only shrugged, leaving her question dangling unanswered. Scarlett, of course, thrived on the mystery, her tongue darting briefly across her lips as though she had uncovered some secret she wasn't supposed to. I'll make you tell me what happened, one way or another, she vowed. Unlike my canvas shoots, this was the full Hollywood machine. We were filming on one of Disney's sprawling Marvel sets, and the scale was bloated. Crews scurried like ants across the polished floors, camera rigs hovered from steel cranes, and production assistants yelled into walkies every 5 seconds. The staff count was quadruple what I normally worked with. They even had personal chefs assigned to the top-billed actors, food that went half uneaten, and non-recyclable props built only to be smashed a scene later. Waste disguised as spectacle. No wonder Marvel's budgets swelled past reason, they worshipped excess. I glanced at Lucas Till, who was supposed to be rehearsing his lines but instead looked like a boy playing dress-up in a tux. When I caught his eye, he flashed me that wide, affable grin. Yeah. I'm ready, he said before I could ask. The studio hadn't been thrilled with my choice of Lucas, but they couldn't fight me on it directly. He was young, handsome in that clean-cut, teen heartthrob way, and, more importantly, he could carry Mr. Immortal across several films without visibly aging out of the role. He also had just enough muscle definition to look the part, the kind of superhero whose body came from real workouts, not just VFX lighting. In the scene, Natasha Romanoff was supposed to make her entrance first. The camera would track her bare back as she slipped past the guards, her every step deliberate, a serpent in silk. In her earpiece, Fury's gravelly voice would name the target, reminding her of the stakes. She would ask if Barton was in position, not because she needed backup, but because Barton had promised he'd be there. Fury's answer blunt as always. Barton was already overseas, shadowing Chitauri tech leaking onto the black market in China. And that was when the hesitation hit her. If not Barton, then who? The camera would catch her glance, her doubt flickering beneath the mask of the spy. And right on cue, Lucas Till's Craig Hollis, Mr. Immortal, with his fuzzy blonde hair, stepped into the frame. He wore a tuxedo that fit just a little too sharply, bowing with boyish charm and an almost clumsy grace before extending his hand. May I have this dance? It wasn't the entrance of a seasoned agent. It wasn't Barton's arrowed precision. It was lighter, uncertain, naive. And that was the point. I told you I don't take care of newbies, Natasha muttered, scolding fury through the hidden mic in her earpiece, even as Craig's hand lingered, waiting. The great thing about this one is, you don't have to take care of him, Fury replied with that gruff edge. He needs experience. I trust no one better to give him that. Then the line went dead. Natasha sighed, slid her hand into Craig's, and allowed herself to be pulled into the dance. Cut! I called out, stepping forward from behind the monitor. Scarlett broke character instantly, head tilting in mild annoyance. What's wrong? I think you misunderstood the scene, I told her, moving between the cameras. I gestured for Lucas to stay still and took Scarlett's hand myself. Lucas, you need to lean harder into the naivety. Both of you aren't just dancing, you're baiting a predator. You're trying to catch the Russian's eyes. Not just any Russian, the oligarch. Their faces turned curious, watching me as I demonstrated. There's a sadistic tendency these people have, I explained, lowering my tone. Wanting to own something that belongs to others. I shifted into position as Lucas would, clumsy but earnest, and then locked eyes with Scarlett. Her lips parted slightly, taken aback when I pulled her in close, the heat of the performance tangible even in rehearsal. Your eyes, Lucas. They need to look like you're falling in love with her. And Scarlett, you have to mirror it, because the bad guy, after reading his dossier, is weak to this. Naivety sells. He loves messing with naive girls. Scarlett's cheek colored faintly as I held the gaze. So laugh at his jokes, soften your stance, let your guard down. In the wide shot, it looks like romance. But in the close-ups, the audience sees it's a technique. Got it? After I finished explaining to the actors, I returned to the director's seat, but before I could start the scene again, a sub-producer approached me. He was someone from the corporate world, not a creative. What if instead of doing all of these, we start the scene in the hotel room where both of them have already caught the bad guy and interrogated him? The producer said, slightly sweaty. I'm guessing you don't like how the woman used her femininity as a weapon? Unfortunately, this scene is fixed since it played off from the opening scene. I told him calmly. We're aiming for a more family-friendly content. Many parents will. It's not family-friendly. That's how it works. You can't do infiltration scenes and filter out all the dirty manipulation going on behind it. What if? Shut the fuck up and let me work. I cursed, looking at him with a serious expression. My intimidation factor caused him to freeze up, like he was a prey being stared at by a predator. The staff became uncomfortable by the confrontation, and the sub-producer left with humiliation. I sighed and said, We'll take a 30-minute break before starting again. Noticing that the actors wouldn't be able to focus with what they just saw, I paused the production and went to get some coffee. Scarlett approached me and said, That's intense. After today, we will use Edward's film crew instead. I don't want to use Disney and Marvel's film crew for this movie anymore, I said with a sigh. What were you thinking? Scarlett teased sarcastically. I shrugged and said, They are available, and I want to start the movie early. Now I finally understand why they are available. They sent me not the B or C team, but the F team. Scarlett laughed at the joke, and she touched my hand slightly. Rumors began to swirl and Kristen Forger became a topic of controversy in the tabloids again. Edward POV. 3 times in 3 weeks. Wow, they must have really not liked him. I muttered as I read the articles attacking the new director. Claire and Frankie were on the video call together with me. Frankie said, Compared to you who seemingly build your brand and career from almost nothing, people don't really like a rich guy coming out of nowhere and being put at the top of the industry ladder. I guess he does seem privileged. I muttered in understanding. Do you think he needs more films on his resume first? Claire asked Frankie. Frankie said, That will still be hard, but if he created something like the Netflix movies a couple of times more, he might lessen the aversion people have of him. And also, we need to find out who leaked his background. I muttered. This wouldn't have happened if the piece about his family wealth and connections wasn't dug up. Frankie sighed and said, apparently the sins of the father are a big deal for the public. His dad is a famous exploitator and had suppressed a lot of people in Paraguay to build his business. He even did the same to Brazil. Frankie added, he did donate a lot of money to charity and tried to fix his family's mistakes. But people think he's still benefiting from the wealth built on exploitation, so they didn't want him in Hollywood to make movies for them to watch. The trends on social media happen naturally instead of someone trying to nudge the hatred into his direction. Execs in Hollywood didn't really care about the people's voices. They knew he was rich and that's it. There's really no other factors for his acceptance to the community here. I thought about it for a second before I decided on something drastic. The girls, Vader, the kittens, and I sat in front of the TV together and watched the breaking news. The conference hall was already chaos by the time CNN cut in live. Flashes of light exploded like fireworks, every reporter trying to catch a piece of Kristen Forger's downfall. There's a lot of controversy about my family's background. Kristen began, his tone calm, steady. There was no PR team at his side, no handlers, just him. Instantly, a voice shouted from the crowd. Did your father monopolize land in Paraguay and force small farmers to sell? Yes, Kristen answered without hesitation. He did. Entire communities were pushed out because of his expansion. Families who grew their own food were forced into poverty, and their land became plantations for our exports. The cameras clicked faster. Another reporter rose, firing her question like a bullet. I recognized her. She was from Mad Dog. What about the forced relocations in Brazil? Testimonies say thousands were displaced for your family's cocoa fields. Kristen nodded. It's true. Entire villages were bought out or threatened into moving. My father wanted the land cheap, and he got it. Those people lost not just their homes, but their heritage. That blood is on our family's hands. Gasps rippled across the hall. The next reporter barely waited. And the political bribes? Your father funneled millions into local governments to cover up labor exploitation and environmental damage. Is that also true? Yes. He bribed ministers, police chiefs, and governors. Forests were burned illegally. Rivers poisoned. Workers underpaid or silenced. All of it happened. And I was born into that fortune. The room erupted into shouts. Some reporters yelled for proof. Others demanded to know if he was complicit. Oh my God! Haley gasped in disbelief. Edward, if you're really friends with that guy, people will be suspicious of you too. I smiled and said, wait for it. Kristen raised a hand, silencing the reporters. His eyes were sharp, and his expression didn't waver even a little. My father did those things. I won't hide it. I won't excuse it. And if you want to hold me accountable for benefiting from it, then fine, hold me accountable. That's why I stand here today. He took a breath, then continued. I cannot erase the past. But I can refuse to profit from it any longer. Effective today, I will donate everything I own, every dollar, every asset. My remaining stake in the company will be handed to the O'Hara Foundation, so it may be repurposed for charity. My house will be sold. My personal wealth, $750 million, will also go to the foundation. I will keep nothing. A stunned silence fell across the hall. What the hell? Taylor fell into deep disbelief. Kristen leaned into the microphone. He showed his bank account, with over $750 million in it. Then, live on air, he donated all of it to my O'Hara Foundation. Check my accounts. They're empty. Even the salary from the Black Widow movie I'm working on, I will donate all the same. One reporter was confused. Why are you doing this? Kristen smiled and said, I was inspired by Edward Newgate, who gave away $13 billion to help cure alienpox. If he could sacrifice everything for the world, then I couldn't just sit on my ass and do nothing. The flashes slowed, the crowd frozen by the audacity of his confession. In my living room, Taylor whispered, "He's crazy." Selena muttered, "That's either the dumbest or bravest thing I've ever seen." I just watched the screen, arms crossed, as the silence of the press corps gave way to a flood of questions that no longer sounded like accusations, but something closer to awe. The responses online were also overwhelmingly positive. Some were skeptical and thought he had money stashed somewhere, but Kristen Forger really didn't. And I didn't feel bad about any of this. His family had been part of the Illuminati, with a checkered, leaning more toward evil, past. I was curious to see what would happen if someone really did this. I'd seen a couple of similar plots in 90s movies, but never in reality. Suddenly, I received a phone call. I expected it to be a reporter, so my assistant picked up first, but instead, it was someone unexpected. My face paled, and I turned to the girls. They noticed and became concerned. Barbara asked, "What's wrong, Eddie?" My mother's coming." "What?" the girls yelped at the same time. Chapter 420, Not Found. Edward POV. Kristen Forger. Bringing a box of my clothes, which was the only thing I had left now, I moved to the empty one-bedroom apartment in Pasadena. The entire apartment was even smaller than Penny's house. It was run down, with paint peeling off the wall, one of the ceiling fan blades chipped, the floor looking quite dirty, and the light fixture left naked. It was like I had stepped into Peter Parker's apartment after everyone forgot about him. Yet it was still fine, since I wasn't going to be sleeping here anyway. This was just the checkpoint to renew the duplicate's existence time limit. I smiled and entered the house casually, kicking the door closed behind me. When I decided to live here, most of the time I would be spending on sets and directing the movie. It is the most expensive social experiment in history, I muttered casually as I sat on the worn-out couch, facing nothing, since I had no money to even buy a TV. The news cycle had already caught fire. Yesterday, Kristen Forger had announced his fortune was gone, redistributed to charities and relief funds. Overnight, he was trending. The traditional media hated the story. They reported it once, then went silent. The networks got spooked. Too many of their real sponsors were billionaires who didn't want this kind of idea floating around. There were no follow-ups. No deep dives. Just a quiet blackout. Social media, however, exploded. Memes. Hashtags. Wild conspiracy threads. Some users celebrated me as a saint. Others mocked me, placing bets on forums about whether I'd be homeless within a month. A few called me insane. Social media is as crazy as always. I smiled as I checked my phone. My favorite was a crude sketch someone posted of me holding a cardboard sign that read, "Will direct movies for food." It spread everywhere. Even Hollywood had noticed. Producers I barely knew suddenly called, offering me contracts to star in reality shows. From penthouse to poorhouse. The billionaire who gave it all away. One network wanted to stage a fake survival competition, me versus the wilderness with nothing but a box of matches. I rejected all of it, despite them offering me good money for it. Holding a script in my hands, I smiled faintly. I can finally see if people watch my movies because they're good, or if they only showed up because of me. It would be a new experience to climb back up without using any powers, any connections, only what Kristen Forger himself had, plus my directing. I looked around the bare apartment. I should clean this place first. I'm broke, so maybe construction work for now, just enough to buy a laptop. Then I can switch to online jobs. This was it. Would I be able to survive like this? I was so curious about it. Suddenly, someone knocked on the door to my apartment. I opened it calmly, and in front of me was a group of young Latino men. "Come with us," one of them said menacingly. I sighed and said, "Sure." They put a bag over my head and threw me into the back of a van. When they opened the bag again, I was already at an abandoned warehouse, sitting on a wooden chair while they stared at me with hatred in their eyes. One of them, a man with a skull painted over his face, walked to the center of the crowd and stopped right in front of me. "Why did you do that, S.A.?" He spoke with a thick Latin accent. "Do what exactly?" I asked back. All of them laughed, as if mocking me. The leader said, "Giving all your money away. Now you don't have any protections left to save you from us. Are you guys the victims' families?" I asked. The leader suddenly raised his hand up, but paused it there. "Hector, what are you waiting for?" one of the subordinates asked. "Shut up. I'm still deciding." The skull face replied annoyedly. Then he said, "Yeah, we are the victims. My abuela died because of your father. That guy right there? He lost his entire familia. All because of your family," he added, biting his lips, trying to manage his anger. Then he brought his hand right down to my cheek, but paused before it hit me. "Yet I can't bring myself to kill you." He changed his tune and placed his hand on my shoulder. "Hector." The same guy who spoke before was startled. "Shut up, Vin. You saw his place, right? He really did give away all of his money. That's not an easy thing to do," Hector said, huffing a breath to calm down. "All right. We're going to do this. Even though you did all of that, most of us here are still angry. And we have no place to put the anger. So, what we're going to do is a tournament." "Tournament?" I was confused. I could kill all of them here easily. The only reason I went along was because I was curious. Bare-knuckle fight. If you don't make it to the top, we'll start again, and again, and again, until you win, against all of us. Then we will let you go," Hector said. "That sounds interesting. Is there money involved?" I crossed my leg and asked casually. Everyone was taken aback before they all laughed together. I wasn't joking, though. I mumbled to myself. "Edward. So what are we going to do?" I asked the girls for opinions. Everyone went silent for a while. Haley suddenly said, "I'm out." When faced with the others' questioning gazes, Haley shrugged and said, "I've already met his mother once. I'm not big on going through that again." Haley was reminded of the time when we were in a relationship and my mother told her she didn't deserve me. "So I'll be going back home. I will come back when she's gone," Haley said as she stood up from the couch. "Oh, so you're not going to fight for us?" I said as she turned her back against me. "Oicho. You did not just say that?" Haley turned again, clearly agitated. "That's our technique. We can use that. You can't use that," she added. "Really? Then I shouldn't ask you if you'd still love me if I was a worm too?" I asked. "No. Why would I ever love a worm?" Haley was confused. "Ah. So you think I'm ugly?" I acted offended. Haley was taken aback, asking, "What is going on here?" "Now you know how it feels," Ness whispered to her. She turned towards me and said, "I'm staying." Selena said, "I'm going to go back." "I'm staying," Barbara said. "I'm going to go too." "I don't think I can handle facing your parents yet, especially since everyone knows what's going on here," Wyla said casually. I turned to Taylor, who looked indecisive. "All right, I'm going to stay, Eno. I'm going to go back. Wait, isn't your mom?" She gestured, spinning her index finger beside her head. "Tay." Selena looked at her with disappointment. "I'm sorry. I don't know what's the polite way to ask that." Taylor was exasperated. "Definitely not that." Haley rebuked her. "Shut it, you worm hater," Taylor snapped at Haley. "Hey! I love worms. Wait, what am I even trying to defend myself from here?" Haley muttered with confusion. "She has become better now. Her adult self will return for at least 1 hour a day," I replied to Taylor. I added, "The reason she's not here for a while is also because of that. So it's surprising that she wants to come here now." The next day, my mother and my aunt finally came to visit after 7 long weeks. Since their stay in Cuba, my mother's mind seemed steadier. Sometimes I could speak with her, the adult mind, over the phone. But it was always the child's voice, Mer, who called every single day without fail. When she stepped through the door, I pulled her into my arms. "I've missed you," I said. Mer was smiling and bright-eyed. She hugged me back affectionately. "I've missed you too, Eddie." Then I turned to my aunt and embraced her as well. Something on her hand caught my eye. "A ring?" I asked. Aunt Camilla flushed slightly. "Yeah. I forgot to tell you. I'm engaged. To be married?" I blinked. "With who?" "Batman," Mer said proudly. Aunt Camilla shot her a look. "I'll introduce you later," she said quickly. We settled into the living room, trading stories about their trip. "Everyone was so nice to me." "I love it there," Mer said, bubbling with excitement. "But sometimes they bow when they see me," she added, puzzled. "Eddie, you should come live there too. I know this country's been trying to ruin you. Back home, no one would dare to mess with you," Mer said with an earnest grin. "No, I can't, Mer. I live here," I said gently. She pouted. "But your family. Family sticks together. We are sticking together. In LA, right? Aren't you coming back to move in with me?" Both Mer and Camilla exchanged a look, quick, but enough for guilt to flash in their eyes. "What's that look for? You're not coming back?" I asked, my voice low. Camilla sighed. "We talked, for a while. And we decided it would be better for us to live in Cuba." "You talked," I said evenly. "Without me." Mer looked down, and Camilla continued carefully. "Miranda's been improving there. She's calmer, happier. And Edward, you have your life here. We've built ours there." I leaned back on the couch, dragging my hand through my hair. "So you came back just to tell me you're leaving?" "No. Old me wanted to see you too," Mer said quickly. I thought for a moment and sighed. "All right. It's not like I can't visit. With the portal, I could be there in seconds anyway." "Also," my aunt said, pointing behind me, "we definitely don't want to get in the middle of that." I turned. Several heads were stacked vertically, peeking from behind the wall. When they realized they'd been spotted, they bolted like startled cats. Later that night, my mother sat outside on the patio, sipping tea beneath the quiet hum of the city. There was a gentleness to her stillness, the kind that only comes after storms. I joined her, sitting across the table. She smiled faintly, setting her cup down. "Edward, it's been a while." "Hello, Mother," I said. "How are you?" "I've been reading some very concerning things." I exhaled softly. "Things have been fine, actually. I'm too strong for people to hurt me." She chuckled. "What arrogance. Nobody's invulnerable." I shrugged. "Grandpa's been sick." Her expression tightened, and I told her everything. About Dad, about Frankie's newlywed life, the small family drama she'd missed. Then I said quietly, "I think I can bring you back now." She looked up. "With my eternal Mangekyo, I can fix it, piece your mind together completely." I paused. "The question is, are you ready to come back?" Silence stretched between us. Then she shook her head. "No. I don't want to come back yet." Her gaze softened. "Mer hasn't felt enough happiness. I don't want to return and ruin that for her." I sighed, rubbing my chin. "All right. I get it. See?" she said with a knowing smile. "You're not invulnerable after all." Her eyes carried that familiar sadness, one that could read every thought I tried to hide. "And," she added, shifting tone, "we need to talk about the girls inside your house." I blinked. "What about them? Did you impregnate any of them yet?" "PFFFBBBT." I spat out my tea, coughing. "What? No! What are you even asking?" She only shrugged. "I'd like to hold my grandchild soon. I expect at least 15 of them." 15? Sorry, 50. She said it so casually that I froze. You don't even have to marry any of them. Just spread your seeds. Okay. New topic. No, I want to keep talking about this. What about Cuba? I said quickly. How did you feel when you saw the changes? I'll settle for 45 grandchildren, she said. I sighed. That's been your lifelong dream, hasn't it? Now my dream is to hold them, she said softly. You're not going to let up, are you? Are you going to marry any of these girls? She asked suddenly, her tone turning serious. Do you think any of them is the one? I hesitated. The next day, I talked with my aunt about her engagement. After she met with Wayne Bruce, the spy who infiltrated Cuba before and found himself madly in love with her, she realized he had sacrificed a lot just to see her again. His job, financial stability, even turning himself into a wanted criminal in order to help the Cubanese resistance before the revolt happened. He never told her about it, but since the people he helped were part of the resistance army, they told Camila about it when they met each other again. Wayne thought Camila had died, yet he still helped the others, which made Camila open her heart back to him. They continued where they left off before Camila figured out he was a spy, and they got engaged in only 3 weeks. I should meet the guy, I muttered. My aunt smiled and said, Why, so you can check him out and see if he's perfect for me? Absolutely. And he also skipped the process of asking for my blessing, I said jokingly. Camila rolled her eyes and said, Sure, Dad. I nodded in satisfaction and said, So, when you move up to Cuba, you will stop doing your business here, huh? She was a bit confused and said, I've shut down my car shop 2 years ago. Not quite, I said vaguely. She became interested and said, What do you mean, not quite? I mean, it's not closed, I said with a cheeky grin. I kept it up, and it's actually a pretty successful business now. Most people in Calexico go there for anything about their car. At first, I hired a couple of mechanics for it. But they were using the car shop for smuggling, so I fired them and changed the mechanics to androids instead. They could detect the problem with the car within seconds, so a lot of people opted to go there to fix their cars. You really never checked your business account? I asked her. She shook her head and said, No. I thought it would have been shut down once my business was non-existent. Well, I took some fee for managing, paying the workers, rent, utilities, and renewing the business licenses. Then I gave you everything else. She took out her phone and sighed. I've already forgotten my username and password. Don't worry. Oracle can get that for you. I grinned. She checked out the account and widened her eyes. It was a successful business, so she had a lot in her account. I also expanded the car shop to multiple locations in the state, so the money was pretty good. Edward, I can't take this. She tried to give the money back to me. I didn't do anything. What do you mean you didn't do anything? You went to fight the good fight in Cuba. Seeing her apprehension, I added, I'm not even the one who took care of your business. I gave it to someone else to manage. Then give it to them, she said firmly. I shook my head and said, No. They know who they are working for. Come on. She was reluctant to take the money. Then I had an idea. You know what? What if we settle this the old-fashioned way? Your way. What way? She asked, calming down slightly. I smirked and said, You know, the thing you always wanted to bring me to, but we could never go. Church? She was confused. I rolled my eyes and said, Not that. The other thing. OHHH. She widened her eyes slightly. Can we even do that now? I think it's the perfect time for it since the streets are basically empty. I told her. Taylor, Ness, and Barbara followed us to Calexico's streets. I sat in my Mustang while my aunt sat in her purple Corvette. I revved the Mustang. The deep growl rattled the windows of the shuttered shops. Across from me, Camila's Corvette purred, a sleek Predator painted in violet, chrome glinting under neon signs. You sure about this, kid? She said cockily. I rarely lost a race. I grinned and said, This is the first time a street race is held in order to lose money. If you win, I will give the money to the staff as a bonus. But if I win, you will use the money for the wedding. It's a bet, she said excitedly. That wraps up this part of What If Karmic Gacha system in Modern Family World. Thanks so much for listening. As always, new parts drop every 4 days, so be sure to stay tuned. Also check out my Patreon channel for early releases of all the series, where you can find all the series released one day ahead of YouTube. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, share it with your friends, and please consider supporting the original author as well. See you in the next one.